All right, guys, we are in the sixth line of the transits.
Got about 5.5 hours left of this transit. 3319.
Let's have a look. So, as usual, we're going to start with the Sun transit, which is gate 33, retreat, privacy, active withdrawal, and the transformation of a weak position into strength. This is from the Rave I Ching. So this is Ra. This is human design, grandpa or daddy. Yeah, he's like grandpa energy. Anyway, disassociation, the ability to let go. In its exaltation, the will to concentrate on revitalization and not be handicapped by persistent recriminations. The ability to let go and retreat to enjoy privacy. Detriment, the ability to shed the larger framework that is precipitated the retreat, leaving nagging doubts that hamper revitalization. The inability to completely let go. Disassociation is like very commonly used as a medical diagnosis term. Or rather, I've seen it be used as a medical diagnosis term similar to ADD or ADHD, a lot of the letter things. And in this sense, though, to disassociate yourself is just a general thing of not necessarily identifying with something entirely. And so the ability to let go in retreat. So in your retreat, the ability to let go of whatever it is ultimately that you've retreated from. That thus fulfilling the gate and the withdrawal being a space of transformation of the weak position into a position of strength. And the ability to enjoy privacy. So again, being the transits the way they be, this might be a time when you're especially feeling the retreat or especially feeling the privacy, or rather enjoying the privacy, or feeling like maybe you need more of it, which is natural because we're in the transit.
We're in the transit, baby.
What's that I Ching got you say?
Very similar. Cheerful retreat. Everything serves to further. The situation is unequivocal. Inner detachment has become an established fact, and we are at liberty to depart. When one sees the way ahead thus clearly, free of all doubt, a cheerful mood sets in, and one chooses what is right without further thought. Such a clear path ahead always leads to the good. Very simple, straightforward.
There's like a clearing of the mind in a lot of ways. One thing that I was looking into about the transits, and Nathan said it a couple days ago. I can't exactly remember, but this 3313 is ultimately about like secrets and privacy and the ability to keep secrets or be a confidant. Specifically 13, which is the pairing gate of 33.
Which is
that confidant
Earth
energy
transit that we're about to switch into.
Which is the Earth transit that we're about to switch into naturally. Okay, that is interesting. Angel says disassociation common for 6 lines in general. Good to hear why and when it can be beneficial. True that. Yeah, like disassociation in the 6th line. For those of you that don't know, there's a whole period between depends on exactly when you reach they call it the roof stage. But getting up on the roof and kind of disassociating from the world so that then there can be this reflection that happens. So that way, all of the mistakes in the first 30 years of one's life can then become alchemized into role model-esque energy. So, should we go video?
Why not?
Let's go video.
What's up, Ben? Oh, why did
it? No, stop. It's scary. What's up, guys?
Hey.
Yeah, just turn it all the way down.
It is all the way down.
Oh, it's still going?
Yeah. Voice settings.
Nice. Okay. Well, anything to say on 33? I think today would be a good time to get to be seen by all. But today would be a good day to consider, especially like looking at the entire transit. There was this thing that was really important to me about the style of retreat, in the sense that, the superior man doesn't wait until retreat is necessary, or it's similar to like the saying, you don't wait until you're dying of thirst to start drinking water to retreat. And so your attunement to retreat, your attunement to privacy, and the ability to, again, for you using your strategy and authority, figure out when privacy is necessary. And, with gate 33 active, there is the tendency to inflate or deflate this tendency, in the sense that, with 33 being active, maybe you've shared a bit more than you intended to, or ultimately reflected and looked back on and been like, oh, I shared a little bit too much, or possibly even I was a little too private and I didn't share enough. So there's again, everyone is going to be all over the spectrum in terms of experiencing the transits, and you typically look at the inflation of it or the deflation of it, and then using that, you can see kind of more what your conditioning is, and then you can start to kind of harmonize yourself using your strategy and authority, and the things that you know about your chart ultimately. And then obviously this is a resource to come into deeper acceptance of your conditioning, because that's a big piece of the conditioning that a lot of people, I would say, probably don't talk about. Is like, you got to accept your conditioning in order to like free yourself from your conditioning. Because if you want to get somewhere, you got to know two things. You got to know where you want to get, which is your body graph and the alignment and the energetics of your body graph. And you also got to know where you're at. A lot of people might spend a lot of time learning about where they want to go, but they're not taking inventory of where they're at. So how is it possibly that you could know which direction is the right direction if you don't know which direction you're starting from? If you're over here, the right direction is that way. But if you're over here, you might think the right direction is that way. But if you don't know that you're here, realizing the right direction is that way. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing.
Yeah, it's like being comfortable with the uncomfortable. Like, yeah, you got to get into the uncomfortable spaces to know where you're like lacking, or there's like a change that needs to happen.
Tucker, so by knowing this deeper knowledge, it's more about your relationship to yourself, design, and your reaction to the transit, so that you can isolate conditioning. Exactly that. It's like, I forget, there was a quote I read recently about Ra, where he's like, I'm not Ra, I'm the thing watching Ra. He's like, I'm not atomic, I'm something beyond that. And when Ra talks about human design in a lot of the ways, I love it, because he's always like, I'm not trying to make this spiritual. And it's like, yeah, it's just spiritual. And because when you really sink into the material world beyond the like surface level basic ass materialism that a lot of people get caught up in, like nature in and of itself is spiritual. And so, yeah, with the deeper knowledge, it's really about who is watching, right? And a lot of people obsess with who is watching, rather than balancing that desire or curiosity to know what is actually being watched. And that's the idea with the design and the conditioning, is that the better you can be at allowing yourself to be a passenger within your body, ultimately the watcher and the body are going to have a way better time. And in the sense that, again, the process of deconditioning yourself takes 7 years, because your physical body takes 7 years to cycle in and out new information. For instance, if I can get you to live as my slave for 7 years, at the 7-year mark, your body will respond to me as a slave. Adversely, if I spend 7 years freeing your mind, anytime now you go into situations where someone's trying to cage you or make you their slave, your body will be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, what are you doing here? It will know something is wrong. So this conditioning and deconditioning is constantly taking, and ultimately it's like we're deconditioning what trauma, all that stuff, and we're really conditioning ourselves to the body graph. Or the experiment is, hey, start conditioning yourself towards the body graph, towards your natal body graph, and see if that's not better. And if it's not, then fuck all this. But if it is, great. So All right, let's move to the Earth. And then Angel says 33.6 is looking at the 7.1.
Yeah,
That's correct. Yeah. So the
that's
next,
the sun that we're going into.
yep, the next transit we're moving into is going to be 7.1.
Mhm.
Okay, gate 19. Approach. This is the Earth. All things that are interrelated is apparent and manifested through the actions of approach. Line 6, the recluse. Exaltation, the avoidance of contact in general, but not exclusively. The foot on the hill, the sage that if you can find him will talk to you. The energy which generally fuels avoidance. Detriment is a sulking child, the self-imposed exile that will only end when it attracts the appropriate and soothing reactions. Oversensitivity to rejection that fuels avoidance.
Mm. Mm.
Anything on that? Let's get some poetry in there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what?
Great-hearted approach, good fortune, no blame. A sage who has put the world behind him and who in spirit has already withdrawn from the world may, under certain circumstances, decide to return once more to the here and now to approach other men. This means great good fortune for the men whom he approaches and helps. And for him, this great-hearted humbling of himself is blameless.
Mm.
Yeah, we touched on this yesterday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
It's like the sage coming down from the heavens to help out on the earth with the teaching of the inferior men.
Right.
But really, it's the work on ourselves, the inferior parts of ourselves, as superior people.
I'm thinking it's like because the sun and the earth are paired,
Mm-hmm.
right? In the sense that
Well, it's like retreating from the head back to the body. So like we come up to the head a lot to do a lot of the studying and thinking and like knowledge building, and then it's like, okay, how do I move this from the head to the body where I'm actualizing it and using it for myself rather than just like, I'm learning. Well, now it's time to implement.
This is not necessarily like source material or human design, but thinking about the relationship of how the sun shines light onto the earth, that like descending energy. There's so much hype I see around the world of people like ascend, transcend, rise above it, and so little energy around descend. And one of the primary functions of lights is to descend onto the planet and then be made manifest on the planet. And so thinking about the solar energy coming from the sun, 33, landing on 19, like the sun would be the let's just say light neutrinos coming from the sun is like water. Whatever gate is in the earth would be like the cup that fills up with that water. So 19 and the ability to
like a waterfall,
fine tune our approach is how we embody privacy. That's cool. I don't know if I've ever heard anyone talk about that. Most people just talk about the sun in terms of transits.
Yeah, that makes me think of like a waterfall. It's the retreat of the water gathering up in the pool before it approaches further downstream to the next waterfall.
Gathering. That's like a whole nother. It's a whole nother thing. This stuff will make your mind explode. That's why it's like you kind of got to blow your mind up on purpose. One of the things that when I was learning how to meditate, I was researching a lot of stuff, and I remember reading this story about a man who was seeking enlightenment, and so he goes to his guru and he says, "Go down to the river and listen to the monkeys talk down by the river, and they'll tell you the secrets to the world." And so the guy goes down to the river and he's sitting there and the monkeys are they're talking, and he's just like, "Okay, monkeys, tell me the secrets to the universe. Do it. Tell me the secrets." And he gets frustrated and he goes back to his abbot and he goes, "Hey, those monkeys don't know shit." Modern context of the
that reminds me of in our lineage of Kung Fu, one of the things they say when we're meditating is quiet the chattering monkey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, check this out. The story goes on and is saying that the abbot goes, no, the monkeys know. I wouldn't lie to you. The monkeys know. go down there and sit. And so the guy goes down and sit there, and he's like, how am I supposed to figure out my life? Monkeys, tell me what I'm supposed to do. What's the meaning of life? Second time he comes back, and the abbot goes, look, listen, those are the only things in the world that know what enlightenment is.
Mm-hmm.
The guy goes, what, for real? He goes, yes, go back down there and sit with the monkeys. And so he goes back down for the last time and sits with the monkeys. And eventually he goes, fuck it, these monkeys don't know anything. There's no point in this. I give up. Peace. And he figures it out. And so
Quiet the chattering.
yeah, the monkey has been quieted, or the internal monkey has been quieted through the exhaustion of the mind. In that sense, it's like, you know, there's times, and I would say 33 and 19, this combo is there's something in here about, you know, our lives in a way being exhausting, and knowing when to rest, and knowing when to retreat, and knowing how to approach things or approach a retreat in a way that, you know, you're not halting, that you're not you know, persevering too much. So yeah. Anyway, let's talk about this next transit coming up. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. I love it. All right, so we're in gate 7.
Gate 7 in the sun.
No.
Which is the abysmal water below the receptive earth. How we want to approach this one? Read the judgment and the image.
Let's read so gate 7 is the army. I like starting with the I Ching because it's kind of like, I like starting with the Rave calendar because it's kind of like foundation of human design, and then the I Ching, I feel like, colors it up really well. So gate 7 is army, and this is the pairing gate to 31, which was the prior transit to this current one. But gate 7, the army, the role of the self in interaction, the point of convergence by design, the need for leadership to guide and order society. So together, the 31 and the 7 is in the G, 31 is in the throat. 31, if you guys remember, was influence. Or like I like to view it, you know, the gates and stuff as people. So 31 would be the general, and then gate 7 would be the army, right? So 31 be the voice to command, and then the army would be the essence. And for someone with this gate, it would be like a general that inspires an army to form. Somebody with gate 31 but no 7 might be like a general, but he's not able to muster his own army. Like maybe his lieutenant or someone is the one that's actually inspiring and gathering and organizing people. And then someone with gate 7 but no 31 would have the energy to rally the army, but not necessarily direct their energy. So line 1 is authoritarian, the iron hand, both enlightened and despotic. In exaltation, it says Venus exalted, as in the basic values and rules imposed on a child, the capacity of the self to guide with authority. And the detriment is the distorted intellect that believes only it knows best, which is the capacity of the self to insist that its authority is the best. I Ching.
I Ching. So, I want to read the image before I go into the lines, so we can paint a picture of this. In the middle of the earth is water, the image of the army. Thus the superior man increases his masses by generosity toward the people. Groundwater is invisibly present within the earth. In the same way, the military power of a people is invisibly present in the masses. When danger threatens, every peasant becomes a soldier. When the war ends, he goes back to his plow. He who is generous toward the people wins their love, and a people living under a mild rule becomes strong and powerful. Only a people economically strong can be important in military power. Such power must therefore be cultivated by improving the economic condition of the people by humane government. Only when there is this invisible bond between government and people, so that the people are sheltered by their government as a groundwater is sheltered by the earth, is it possible to wage a victorious war. So it's like being a generous leader, you've got to give back enough to your people, because they're going to eventually be the army that saves you from being taken over by somebody else.
Remember we pulled an I Ching recently about like the farmer militia, but like that they're not warriors, they're farmers.
They're farmers. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna draw out this I Ching because
Yeah. Then the
that's
line.
important.
So 6 at the beginning means an army must set forth in proper order. If the order is not good, misfortune threatens. At the beginning of a military enterprise, order is imperative. A just and valid cause must exist, and the obedience and coordination of the troops must be well organized. Otherwise, the result is inevitably failure. Which just kind of makes me think about like it says it must be a just and valid cause must exist. So this makes me think about like where we're at, like as in the United States, and it hasn't felt like there's been a just or valid cause in a very long time for a war, and it feels like it's leading to the demise of the United States ultimately, eventually.
Yeah,
because there hasn't been a just and valid cause,
right,
and it's inevitable failure, which so many people just disapprove of the government here and don't agree with them and see right through the bullshit because we have a robot for a president right now.
Yeah, exactly. So that's an interesting concept. Like there hasn't been a just war. Tucker, you're pretty on point. So it's like, that creates like a temporary activation. So like if you already have this, from source material, and if anyone out there who's seen otherwise, correct me if I'm wrong, but according to what I understand, if you already have this gate, you're not necessarily going to feel a difference as much because you're already programmed with the energy of this gate. My experience of it, because I have all hanging gates and I'm a reflector, so it's like I might be a little bit more sensitive to the transits. I do feel like a little like I got a little buff. Like on 31, I remember I felt the influence. On 33, I definitely felt some like, I want to share some things that are not necessarily matured and ready to share yet. And so I watched that as opposed to being rash. Just in general as a reflector, it's really, I found it very helpful, not necessarily to even make decisions, but allow decisions to be made around me. That way I'm not necessarily influencing my environment as much as I'm allowing my environment to influence me, because in this way I feel like I'm able to better choose an environment that's appropriate for me, as opposed to like making the environment. I'm just finding the environment. Like it reminds me of this one time I was at a personal development seminar, and they were talking about sales and stuff. And one guy, he has two people come up, and one guy he hands a piece of paper and a pen, and the other guy he hands a deck of cards, and he says, "I want you guys to find your ace. Find the person, that you're going to that's going to buy the big package, that's going to, etc." So he's like, "You have a deck of cards. You look through the deck. You have a piece of paper. I want you to draw out the ace." And he's like, "Whoever finds the ace first wins." And so he starts the timer, and of course the dude starts drawing, and it's taking him a while. And then the guy with the deck of cards just, and he finds the ace, and he's like, "I got it." And he's like, "I won." So as a reflector, it's better to just sift through the deck of cards and find the environment that's appropriate for you, rather than trying to create it. Which I would say would be different for a manifestor, although that's definitely a wise thing to do in general. Like, don't try and change your entire community. Just move to a place or find an environment where the community is more suited towards you. I want to see, what is the
7?
Yeah, real quick. I just want to draw it out.
Let's draw it out. It is something about yin and yangs.
Something about yin and yang.
All right, we got yin, yang. The rest are yin.
Great. So, in case y'all were wondering what the hexagram looked like, it looked like a this. I don't know if you can see that with the glare.
Maybe go a little closer.
Oh, it's a good idea.
There you go.
There's a 7. So it's all yin lines, but one yang.
That's enough.
And the yang is in the second place, the hermitude land.
So 13 is the opposite.
13 is the opposite. So that's one thing that we've noticed about the transits is whichever one is in the sun, the earth is going to be the literal opposite of that.
Yeah. Oh, and Chris says here, what about if you have the connecting gate to complete the channel? Same concept with the transits.
So if you have the connecting gate, like if you have 31, like I have 31, for instance, pretty sure.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
Okay. I don't.
Thank you. Yeah, you have 7, right?
I don't.
Oh, you don't have
7? I don't have any of the transit right now.
Why?
Downloading codes.
I'm just gonna make sure. Yeah, so I have 31. So we're in the same boat, Chris, where 7 is on now. So when you get a like an electromagnetic is what you would call it in a composite, but when you get a channel that's completed by the transits, it's like, for instance, it's all of a sudden now my influence can land. Like there may be this energy of like the army alive or maybe around you. And it's like, for instance, it could be a good time to experiment with that. The thing that I warn against is, like, for instance, you don't create a career or enter into a relationship. Like, you don't do something that's going to require that you keep the energy up. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't change. The transits won't change your authority, because when the transit shifts out, whatever authority you had during the transits is not necessarily going to be sustainable. So it's not something that you want to put yourself into a situation like that.
No situationships.
Yeah, no situationships. But you will feel that. And so another part of it is, like, again, discerning, okay, how does this feel? What options are available to me? And does this still resonate with my strategy and authority? Or am I just hyped off the fact that now I feel complete? Because the reality is you're already complete. There's nothing in the world that's going to complete you other than accepting your completeness and your wholeness. And the transits, again, and other people are used to relate with in a way by understanding the differences, being a way of appreciating yourself more and discerning and ultimately accepting yourself more. Because again, it's like, if you're the driver or if you're the passenger in the passenger consciousness in a vehicle, like if it's a what do you say, a plane, but you're always trying to go underwater, you're always going to be upset. But if you accept, oh, okay, I'm a plane, I'm supposed to fly, I'm not necessarily supposed to be on the highway, I'm supposed to be up in the air, then you're gonna have a lot more fun, because now you've embraced your realm of existence and your functions and the things that come naturally to you, rather than thinking that you have to be something else. That's where all the not self comes from. So, like, for instance, one thing that's coming to mind is, like, I have in a lot of areas of my life, I've felt like, I've been very influential, but I haven't necessarily been able to organize the people that I'm influencing in a proper way. And so, for instance, this week, I'm going to, take advantage of 7 being online, but I'm not going to do it in such a way where, again, I rely on the army itself. I'm still going to rely more so on my 31 as opposed to the 7. And ultimately, part of me is like, I'm going to find some people with the 7 that can help to discipline and order things up so that I can sink deeper into the 31. So hopefully that helped, Chris. And obviously we can talk about, because I have that 31 too. So what about Yep, gotcha. Thank you. Great visual analogy. Super helpful. Yeah, I'm a visual guy. I mean, I think a lot of people are. That makes so much sense. My stepdad always used to say, if you do something once, you can do it again. I always thought it was bullshit, but this explains that. For example, getting a big energy boost for self-discipline and organization, big time, Tucker. That's huge. And that's the ignorance of, parents, because they were never taught this. And, you can't blame a child for not knowing. but you also don't have to do what the child says. And a lot of adults, especially in the older generation, they lived through different times. Not only that, but they had different resources available, and again, they were ignorant of stuff like this. So
Good projection.
the power in support and influence needs to be recognized. Yeah, good point. So again, that 31-7, that's a projected channel. So part of it needs to be invited. And then also a big part of it is like recognizing that it's there. Thanks, Cass. All right, cool. So let's go to 13.
Yeah.
Which again, 13 looks like a D. The bottom one is 13.
All right.
Go. Yeah, go for it. Let's change it up.
All right. Yeah. So the image of the upper trigram, Qian, is heaven, and that of lower, Li, is flame. It is the nature of fire to flame up the heaven. This gives the idea of fellowship. It is the second line that, by virtue of its central character, unites the 5 strong lines around it. This hexagram forms a complement to Xia, the army, 7. In the latter, danger is within and obedience without. The character of a warlike army, which, in order to hold together, needs one strong man among the many who are weak. Here, clarity is within and strength without. The character of a peaceful union of men, which, in order to hold together, needs one yielding nature among many firm positions. We'll go ahead to the image. So heaven together with fire, the image of fellowship with men. Thus the superior man organizes the clans and makes distinctions between things. Heaven has the same direction of movement as fire, yet it is different from fire. Just as the luminaries in the sky serve for the systematic division and arrangement of time, so human society and all things that really belong together must be organically arranged. Fellowship should not be a mere mingling of individuals or of things. That would be chaos, not fellowship. If fellowship is lead to order, there must be organization with diversity. You want to read the first line?
Oh, I mean, you got anything coming out of that? That was a good one.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I think I need it to ruminate.
Cool. Okay.
Hear what they got
So,
in the Ray Beaching.
One thing that is definitely worth noting is that the 13 here in the earth is the harmonic gate to the 33 that we were just in. Creates that channel. So 13, fellowship of man, the listener, universal ideas and values in an ordered framework which inspires humanistic cooperation. Line 1, empathy, the ability to relate and commune with everyone with equanimity. Exaltation, harmony through affection, a role of openness in listening to others with affection. Detriment, the politician kissing babies, an openness that is never free of motives. Ooh, that's a really good visual. Holy shit. So in terms of like affection being used as a tool in this way, and your affection and your actual caring about the people and your ability to listen to others and be open as opposed to being open for an agenda, right? I'm building an army for this thing that isn't necessarily going to benefit the people, as opposed to I care about your people, and the reason I'm organizing you is because my agenda is to help you and actually bring something of value to you.
So 9 at the beginning means fellowship with men at the gate, no blame. The beginning of union among people should take place before the door. All are equally close to one another. No divergent aims have yet arisen, and one makes no mistakes. The basic principles of any kind of union must be equally accessible to all concerned. Secret agreements bring misfortune. So
Secret agreements bring misfortune. That's the like agendas,
it's
or or unseen agendas, and
it'd be like if you got all the generals at the round table. We're all, everyone is equal. We're all running different parts of the army, but a couple of the generals have this like side plan of like, hey, we're going to go raid this village because we feel like they're about to attack us and we need to take over, but they haven't brought that to the table yet. That would be the secret agreements that bring misfortune, instead of bringing it to the full table.
So then the power of this gate then would be to inspire those around you and inspire the army to be honest and truthful with you. And with the gate active, that might be something that kind of naturally happens in the sense, this is a good example. So if like you run a business and your employees are not happy, probably some part of you knows that. And this would be a good time to kind of like explore that, I would say. Or in the sense that it's like, for instance, if an employee or a person comes to you and says, hey, I'm not happy with this, there could be the tendency or there'd be like the energy to be upset about that. But and I know this especially since having a manifestor child, it's like you want to foster the transparency over like, oh, I want you to feel this way. It's like, I'd rather know that you don't feel this way so that then we can adjust things so that you can feel the way that we both want you to feel, as opposed to kind of that forcing energy of, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. Like a wise like general would be able to assess if his troops are not happy, that he know about it so that way he can do something about it, as opposed to, again, keeping those agendas secret that causes misfortune. So inspiring transparency and inspiring openness is what I think 13 is really all about. Universal ideas and values in an ordered framework, which inspires humanistic cooperation. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Just curious, how often and regularly do the transits shift? It's roughly like 6 days. It's roughly weekly. And if you guys have the Neutrino app, Alexander, who is the developer of it, just released some very exciting new features. So this is my chart, and right now it's in Zodiac view, which you can change that by hitting the gear up here and switching it off. Although the Zodiac view is really cool. So let's go back to that real quick because I like the way it works. I like the way it looks. And you can see all the red dots around here are my subconscious place or design placements. All the black dots are the personality, and then the yellow lines that you see coming out there are the. Oh wait, hold on. Do I have the moon on? Yeah, I have the moon on only. So there we go. That's all the planets. But he introduced this slider, which will show us the dance of everything as we move through time, which is really, really fun. I've never seen any other app be able to do this in this view, and now it's like an actual geometric dance, which I'm really excited to see. Like I'm hoping we can get some like more coders or techie people in here, because I'd love to do some more cool stuff with this. Like just in general, this is totally off topic, but being able to map out the actual geometries and actually create shapes out of like, this is the next 30 day, like a natal chart would, like an astrological natal chart would be. But one other feature while I'm here, for reflectors or anyone in general, you can toggle all the other planets off by using that right there, the moon only. And so for me, this is super helpful because as a reflector, one thing that I can do now is like, for instance, right now, I have the mental activation, right? And as I move forward in time, this is my dance with the moon. So then the G turns on, and then halfway through, it's like I'm mostly reflector, and then the spleen turns on, then the heart and spleen, or the heart and the emotions, and then the G again, or the sacral, and there's the spleen again. And so as a reflector, this is fucking crazy because I'm able to, how do you say, like, figure out my unique dance. Yeah, Cass, this app is so cool, and he's about to add like a notes section or a calendar journal section, so you'll be able to like timestamp your notes with the transits. Also, you mentioned different planets are at different lengths in transit. Yep, Main and Sun and Earth about 6. Planets further away will be longer, and the Moon goes through like 3 transits a day. So, yeah, the transits are changing today. It's going to be in about you said like 8 or 9 hours now,
like about 1 p.m. Hawaii Standard
Time. Around 1 p.m. So, transits will change today into 7 and 13. So, Paulina, I think you're asking about like how do you tell? You could just use the app, Neutrino app. There's a section called transit, and you can also view the transit only. So I'll turn it off. So like that is zodiac view on, and the transits, and then again you can see the dance that the planets do. See those ones that are moving really fast? That's the moon moving really fast. The one that's moving more slowly is probably the sun and the earth. The sun and the earth are moving across from each other, so they're going like this. Yeah. Anyway, so this is exciting, just with this update because one thing I'm in conversation. How do I feel about this transit? Oh, so Paulina, so we just did a whole thing on it, and we're gonna end the show here because we got to go to the farmers market and get some things. But I'm gonna post the recording of this in the transit update channel, so you can go ahead and go there. It'll be up there pretty soon after we end this show. We just got one more thing to do, so if you're patient, thank you for being excited about it, yeah, so last part of the show we do
should we do
oh yeah,
let somebody raise their hand and
okay,
join? We'll end on that.
All right, okay, let's end on that.
Yeah,
so first we're gonna do like a general I Ching reading, so just a general one. Everyone is going to
coins
hopefully find this insightful.
Sandra, are you also a reflector? How many reflectors we got in here?
I don't think we have any reflectors in here. Cassandra, by the way, if you go to the server,
she is
like the very top. Yeah, Kat. Oh, this is Cassandra. She lives here.
Oh, cool.
Hi, Kat. I didn't recognize your name. But if you go to the top of the server, it says server guide events, and then there's a channel that says channels and roles. You can select like your type and your authority and your variables and stuff like that, and it'll change the color of your name. So like for instance, the yellow is manifesting generator, the pink red looking one is generator, orange would be manifester, green is projector, and then blue would be reflector. So go ahead and do that, and then then you'll have your roles. People can click on your profile and they can see what it is, plus also just at a glance being able to see, oh, she's blue, so she's a reflector. But anyway, yeah. So we're gonna read the I Ching. We're gonna use some coins to draw out the I Ching.
Also, speak fun. If you want to drop where in the world you are right now.
Oh yeah.
Even if you just want to put like the state or the country, whatever. If you don't have to get too specific for privacy. But share where you're at, because I think we got people from all different parts of the world here today, which is dope.
Pennsylvania,
California, Poland.
Let's go.
This is so cool. Netherlands. Dang. This is so sick. San Diego.
Who's in San Diego?
Ohana?
I grew up in San Diego.
Cali.
That's cool.
Nice. Dang. Well, welcome. Philippines. Oh, wow. What? This is sick.
I love it.
Maui. Hey. We got some Maui people.
Yo, I know, yeah.
We got to get the Maui team together sometime.
Yeah, we'll probably do some kind of in-person Maui human design hangout. Yeah, maybe we're gonna go to the market cast. So if you're there, maybe we'll see you. All right, let us do the thing. So Luke is going to be doing these.
What does he say in Legend of Korra? Do the thing.
Julie,
do the thing.
Are you my Julie?
Do the thing.
Do the thing.
What do we got? One heads. So that would make it a yang.
Yang.
Two heads. Yin.
Yin.
One head. Yang. One head. Yang.
Tails. Tails.
Changing line.
Changing yin. Greater yin.
One tails as a yin. And una más.
No, that was it.
Mm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Ha!
Excellent.
I cannot count.
Okay, so for those of you that like don't know what the heck we're doing, Tucker's
Well, I'm
I knew it. I
confused.
felt you, bro.
What's going on?
Okay, so we just created a hexagram. So what's super cool about human design naturally is it uses the I Ching, right? But not a lot of people know what the I Ching was. It was like one of the first oracles that they would use. So they would take 3 coins or 3 sticks, and when they pulled them, there would be or when they threw them, they would create lines. So you have 3 coins. If the coin shows a heads, that's 3 points. If it shows a tails, that's 2 points. So for instance, this first one was, I forget, 1 head, 2 tails. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
Mhm.
So 1 head, 2 tails. You add up the numbers, the points that you get from each throw. That gives you the line. If it's odd, it's a yang line. If it's even, you get a yin line. You do that 6 times, and now you've just created a hexagram.
Mhm.
So now we can go in and look up.
So we got 55, which is
55.
abundance.
Ooh.
We have a changing line, which is in the 5th. So we'll just go straight to the 5th line.
So then this line is of extra importance. So because when you roll 3 heads, that's a yang line. And when you roll 3 tails, that's a yin line. But you put a dot next to it to demarcate, okay, we got three yin lines that create this yin line, or 3 yang lines that create this yang line. So now we can go into
We'll do a little read.
0.5 and check it out. All right.
So I'm going to read the description real quick, and then we'll go to 0.5. Chen is movement. Li is flame, whose attribute is clarity. Clarity within, movement without. This produces greatness and abundance. This hexagram pictures a period of advanced civilization. However, the fact that development has reached a peak suggests that this extraordinary condition of abundance cannot be maintained permanently. Yeah, so it's a fire below the thunder. It's like when the thunder strikes the earth, it creates a fire. All right, 6 in the 5th place means lines are coming. Blessing and fame draw near. Good fortune. The ruler is modest and therefore open to the counsel of able men. Thus he is surrounded by men who suggest to him the lines of action. This brings blessing, fame, and good fortune to him and all the people. So this is even like the same of what we were talking about with the army, being modest as a ruler and being open to the counsel of the able men. So coming to the round table to talk with your generals and viewing yourself as the same. Everybody's the same here. It's not like, oh, I'm the ruler, I'm above everybody. No,
Right.
We're all the same here. We're all people, humans. Thus he's surrounded by men who suggest to him the lines of action. The lines of action. Interesting. This brings blessing, fame, and good fortune to him and all the people. So we're all going to get famous.
We're all going to be rich and famous, y'all.
Rich and famous. All right, we have a change here to the yang. So that would be...
No changing.
Yeah.
So when it's 1 dot like this,
we just focus on that.
we just focus on, yeah,
So it doesn't
that's the
change.
reading. So is that that's the 5th line? 6?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yep. That was the 5th line.
That's the 5th one?
Yeah. Watch. 6 in the 5th place.
Oh, okay. Got it. Cool.
5th line in the rave.
5th line of the rave. So now we're going to the human design to discern what shadow out of our face. To discern what the context of it would be in human design, which again, they're very similar, but there's Ra has a manifestor way of putting things, I think that like is very important. So in gate 55, abundance, spirit, this is in the solar plexus. Line 5, growth, the unusual ability in a position of power to accept advice and transform it innovatively. This gift in a position of power allows one to continue to lead rather than being perceived as being led. The emotional strength and spirit derived from positions of power. Detriment is an integrative openness that in its broad acceptance of advice may eventually be eclipsed, an emotional openness where the spirit is at risk from being conditioned or risk from conditioning. the emotional strength and spirit derived from positions of power.
Hmm.
See what y'all about to say. Yes.
So
Six
why
feels
do
like
you do these
witnessing one and
hexagrams?
one, although being separate and autonomous. So when and why do you do these hexagrams? Can I just keep doing it until I get something I like? Tucker, you're so funny, dude. Yeah, you can if you want.
Joke, by the way.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
I don't like this one. I'm gonna do the next one.
Yeah, so it's like, this would be like, for if you want guidance on a certain situation, or you're deciding whether or not to start a project, or a relationship or something. So this is just a collective reading of general counsel for whoever is present and whoever is involved, which would be everyone here and then everybody listening. And so the advice would be, would you read that again? I'll read this one here.
Yeah, the Neutrino app is Neutrino design, and the I Ching book that we're using, Marco can show you after.
It's just called the I Ching,
Book
or
of
the
Changes.
Book of Changes. What I Ching you use, and is the Neutrino? Yes, Neutrino design is the app, and it's like $40 a year, which is an insanely good price, honestly. Lines are coming, blessing and fame draw near, good fortune. That's our divination. That's a good one for today. The being mindful of the detriment of this line, which is the emotional openness where the spirit is at risk from conditioning. So in that, there's kind of I don't want to say a caution.
What that sounds like to me in relation to the I Ching is like the conditioning of being a ruler, not getting stuck of like in the spiritual, like, oh, I'm higher than everybody else because I'm at the top. It's like remembering to come down from the heaven, from the pedestal,
from
to
your
be
position
like,
of power.
We're here together. This is for the betterment of all of us, because if I don't take care of my community, then I'm gonna be taken advantage of or sacked off or whatever that may be.
True that. Cheers.
Trying to grow my TikTok and stock coaching stuff, so I dig it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I'm feeling like we're done.
Yeah, pow.
Cool. All right, guys. Big love to y'all. If you haven't already seen, we have a couple new channels. Go feel free to explore. And then one thing that actually came up yesterday, we were talking, is like, this community feels so freaking cool. And we're at like almost 700 members here.
I think we have over 700.
We got over 700?
Yeah, when I tagged at everyone, it was like, you're going to tag 712 people.
Sick. So, yeah, I guess my, just for the people listening in, it's like, my desire is to continue to keep this like an intimate and cool space. Like, I do not want to sacrifice what we've created here for a lot of people, which I could go on TikTok later tonight and pump this, and then we'd have like an extra 100 people in here. So basically what I want to say is the stronger foundations and the stronger culture that we create here of being welcoming, but not necessarily like catering too much to the energy that sometimes gets accumulated online, which is very like pessimistic and negative. Like, the ability to transmute that effectively into, hey, look, focus, do the foundational things, which ultimately is strategy and authority. So basically what I'm saying is, like, the tighter knit that this becomes, the less new people is going to affect what it is that we're creating here. So, invitation for anyone in general to take a leadership role when people are joining this Discord and they don't know what's going on, to direct them in the right places. Like, oh, you don't have your roles yet, or oh, you are asking about your strategy and authority. Get into your strategy channel, and just in general, like, we have the moderators here to help. Ori, Luke, Chris, Ronan, Prana, just to name the active ones right now. We have some dormant moderators, which are just homies that I'm like, hey, wake up, we're doing something cool here. But anyway,
and what I think you're saying too is like, we want to focus on everybody who's here right now, because we don't want to go wide. Like we don't want to go too wide. We want to focus on this family that we have right now because you guys are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And you're showing up every day. Some of you people I see your name here. I'm like, you're literally been to every tea in transit.
Dragon,
So
Anna, Onion, you've been here a lot. Chris, obviously, Royal. And then so again, making space at the table, but also I don't want anyone to feel like they have to give up their seat to a new person unless they, their strategy or authority says so. That's nice. But ultimately the idea is to build this out in a way that, the table is big enough for everyone to sit at. So with that being said, I should probably create a suggestions channel for anyone that has suggestions to make the Discord better. I think there's actually a way to do that with the bot. But anyway, my computer's about to die. So I'm going to go ahead and end this, and then we're going to post it in the transit updates. So again, if anyone's like, hey, I missed the transits, or what are the transits about, just tag or just transit updates, tag that channel so they can click it and then go in there and listen to this recording. So big love to you guys. Catch you later. Have an abundant day. Aloha.